Howdy folks, EJ here. Yes, I haven't really made a video except pre-scheduled UHC stuff in about 6 months, but I'm not here to talk about my super busy life. Let's talk Minecraft. So the other day, Void posted a video about the new features that Mojang was planning on adding to Minecraft for update 1.11, and I was like, wait, what? I thought they were keeping that stuff as a surprise to release at Minecon? But sure enough, they put all the Minecraft stuff on YouTube already while Minecon was still going on, and I was like, sweet! Because they've had trouble posting the Minecon stuff in previous years. Anyway, I started watching the unveiling of the new Minecraft 1.11 features, and I started having my jaw drop, and I got this crazed smile on my face, like, gimme right now! Maybe I'm just craving a chance to play Minecraft again because I've been gone and busy for so long, but let me explain why I think these features in particular are pretty dang awesome. So first, let me put this in perspective for you by bringing you up to speed on some previous updates of Minecraft. If you're not interested in hearing about the previous updates of Minecraft, go ahead and click here to skip ahead to when I actually talk about 1.11, the newest update that they're adding. The last big update that we had to Minecraft was 1.8, the Bountiful update. Now this update came out a couple of years ago, but it was a very substantial and very awesome update. It gave us all sorts of new blocks, it gave us tons of new mobs like guardians, rabbits, and armor stands, which became instrumental in basically everything command block related. Not only that, but it also added some things for survival players to explore, like the Ocean Monument, and it also gave us the Slime Block, which revolutionized Redstone and created a whole new genre of slime block contraptions. We also got a whole bunch of commands like block data, clone, fill, execute, particle, test for block, title, trigger, stats, all these powerful commands that the command block community could pretty much not do without at this point. We have come up with so many amazing things that you can do because of this update, and all these additions gave us tons of stuff to explore. Even the little tiny things like the lock tag and extra game rules gave us a whole bunch to explore, both for command blockers, redstoners, and for survival players. It also gave us Game Mode 3, which is very useful in many situations. Basically, this update gave us a little bit of everything and made everyone very happy for quite a long time. But then we didn't get an update for quite a long while, probably because a bunch of people who were working on the game decided to leave and go do other things, and Mojang itself was bought by Microsoft. And during that transition where Microsoft took over the working on of Minecraft, we didn't really get any updates for quite a long while. A year and a half, I want to say? Then finally, they announced Minecraft 1.9, and I got excited again, because I was expecting another huge update like 1.8 had been, and I was expecting to get all these new features that we've been asking for forever, like the ability to transfer NBT data to scoreboards and read and write like that, using a command or something, which would be so useful and would allow us to do a lot of different things. But they slowly released features like shields, and they added an attack cooldown, which seemed to make combat less fun in my opinion. And they added end rod stuff, and that was about it. Then they said, oh, that's all we're going to add for 1.9, and then they released it. And I was like, what? Really? Oh, okay, well, I guess that was a waste of an update. But luckily, they didn't keep that update for an entire year like they had for 1.8. We moved right on to 1.10, and they started announcing features for 1.10. And then I got excited again, hoping that they would add some cool stuff. And they gave us a polar bear, and random stuff that nobody seemed to have asked for. And abandoned mine shafts that are different, and villages that are changed, and endermen spawning in the nether, and random stuff that nobody seemed to be interested in. New blocks? Yeah, sure, whatever. Underground fossils? Interesting, but not too useful. And of course they revamped the command block system, which was useful, I guess, but it didn't really change fundamentally the way command blocks work, so it still was pretty much the same. Pretty much the only thing that I was excited about between 1.9 and 1.10 were the structure blocks, because they actually allowed us to do some new things that we weren't able to do before. But the rest of it all seemed to be just kind of throwaway updates, just kind of random stuff that they threw in for no reason. So all in all, the last couple updates have been underwhelming, but the reason that I'm excited about this update is, well, let's go ahead and get into the new updates. At the time of recording this, the snapshot isn't actually out yet, so I'm going to be using the Minecon footage to show what the features actually are. The first feature they announced was Cursed Enchantments, which basically means sometimes when you find an item or you get a drop from something, the item that drops will have a curse on it or some sort of enchantment, which is pretty cool, and I guess we can find some uses for that in our adventure map making. But according to the developers, they're going to be kind of rare and they're not going to be terribly useful for survival. In this particular example, he's showing off the Curse of Binding, which means basically it's bound to your head. You can't take off that helmet after you put it on. and the Curse of Vanishing, which basically means once you die, if you drop that sword, it disappears. It doesn't drop with the rest of your items when you die, it just vanishes, which is pretty cool. The next feature they showed off was the Observer Block, which is something that's already in Pocket Edition, but is just now brought into the PC edition. And I think it's a really good change because right now all we have is buds, which is block update detectors, and those, while they can be pretty small, they are still a little bit more space consuming, and this is an easier way to do that exact same thing. Plus, it's just a little new feature to mess with, and it makes redstone like more compact and easier to work with. So I think it's a welcome change. And of course, since they're slowly trying to bring PC and Pocket Edition and all the versions closer together, I think it's useful to be able to do that. Plus, hopefully, it will eventually make the coding of Minecraft more clean and easier to work with. But Cube Hamster has already talked more about that in a different video, and I plan on talking about that at some other point in the future. And what you see right now is a new feature that they added. Basically, new end gateways will spawn when you're way far out exploring in the end. Now, new portals will spawn that will help you get back to the center quick and easily. And here is the first big one. They added the shulker shell, which is basically just a drop for the shulker, and when you combine that together in a crafting table with a chest and another shulker shell, it will give you this new item, which is super amazing. It is the shulker box, and what it is basically a portable chest. It's like a backpack that you can use, and this is the most revolutionary part of this entire snapshot, I would say. Now, you can't just use it as a regular storage container. It has a very nice opening animation and stuff, but you can use it like a regular chest. But the most exciting part of this is that you can put your items in here. Then when you break the shulker box, it keeps those items in there. You can pick up the shulker box, move it somewhere else, place it down again, and you still have those items in there, which makes it a very compact way to store tons and tons of items in only one inventory spot. Imagine how awesome that would be for transporting a bunch of items on a long expedition. And an even cooler part of this is that you can use it in conjunction with redstone to create some super advanced storage systems and mass item transportation systems. This demonstration automatically made me go, oh man, imagine getting an entire shulker box full of goodies and then placing that shulker box and having it do all the work to transport all those items, sort them into your sorting system, and you can even just press one button and get a shulker box that contains all the goodies that you would need for an expedition. How cool is that? This feature and the Observer Block are two things that I think are really going to be great for the redstone community because they're giving them new options to work with, and they're going to have a whole new range of options to be able to create new redstone contraptions, and that'll be really great for the community.
I mean, the immediate question is, can you put the shulker box inside the shulker box? No, you can't.
This next feature adds something that was similar to something that I was going to try to add as a one command, but I guess they beat me to it. Essentially, it adds a new profession to villagers, and when you trade with these particular villagers, they give you a map that is a treasure map that will lead you to the location of a desert temple, jungle temple, ocean monument, or Woodland Mansion, which is the new structure that they added. Anyway, this basically just gives you a map that will lead you to the location of one of these special structures in Minecraft, and it's a guaranteed place to find one of these, which is really cool because at the moment, Amidst and some of the other programs that we use to find these structures are not very reliable, so having a new method of doing this in-game is actually very useful. And that is basically what this command is for. They also added the command /locate, which will help you locate nether fortresses, end cities, any of that kind of stuff that you want to find. You just need to type in what you're looking for, and it will give you the location of the nearest one, which is very useful if you're flying around in creative and you need to find one of these, but you don't know where to find one. And here's the Woodland Mansion that I was talking about. They added a new structure called the Woodland Mansion, and it is an absolutely massive new structure that they added. It is probably one of the biggest ones in-game that I've seen so far, and it looks super cool. I know that when I first saw this, it gave me shivers, because it looks so much like something that you would find in a modded game. And some people may argue that this feels too modded. Like, the whole feel of it is like not vanilla Minecraft anymore. And actually, in most cases, I would agree with you. Especially with like the polar bear and some of the other dumb things that they were added, it felt like they were just adding random mobs and stuff just for the sake of adding new mobs. And it honestly felt like they were just trying to copy More Creatures mod or something, and they didn't even have much purpose. Like the polar bears, they're just added for the sake of adding them. But with this, they've added a whole new structure, a whole new adventurous dungeon. They've added new creatures to populate that dungeon and to give a whole new unique challenge to the player. It's basically a whole new experience, and that really keeps the game fresh. So I really appreciate the way that they've added this. One thing that I particularly like about these new mobs is that the Vindicator and the Vexes are a change of kind from the combat that is usually in Minecraft. Like pretty much all the other enemies, skeletons, zombies, creepers, you punch them in the face with your sword and then you back away. You punch them with the sword and you back away again. And that's pretty much all the combat is for most of the mobs of the game. But this, you actually have to have a little bit more strategy, because these mobs have like magical attacks, they can fly in the air, and it's just interesting. It's different from how the usual Minecraft combat experience is. You actually are forced to use your bow to hit the little flying guys. You have to avoid the magical attacks from the ground. And from a command block perspective, I wonder what magical things we can do with these new entities. It looks really cool, and I don't even know what that claw thing coming up from the ground could be used for, but that is really cool looking. Overall, this just feels like it's a whole new game again, and it makes me really want to play some more survival, which is something that I have not really been interested in for quite a while. I have been bored of survival for a while, but this kind of gives it new light and makes me want to do survival again. So that's another thing that's really good about this. Just overall, I think this is a brilliant addition, and I like how well it ties into the whole theme of exploration, new adventures, and like preparing you to go on more adventurous quests. Because this whole update is like giving you more options to be able to travel farther and carry more loot with you as you go, instead of having to come back to your base every time you get your inventory filled up, which is a serious problem that needed to be addressed with Minecraft. But now it's finally been addressed, along with some new extra things. And while they may feel a little bit moddy at first, I think they're really going to help tie the whole experience together. And this item that was added is called the Totem of Undying. It's dropped by the Vindicators, and when you hold it in your offhand or your main hand, basically if you get hurt to a point where you should have died, it will resurrect you and destroy the item, but it'll basically just keep you alive. It's like an extra life kind of feature, which is pretty cool. Finally, they've added the Llamas, which are a pretty interesting addition. At first I was like, why is this necessary? But it is actually helpful to have a llama versus a donkey, because while both of them do carry items, the llamas have one feature that is specifically useful to carrying around large amounts of loot. So basically when you lead one of these llamas around, the rest of them in the nearby area will follow that llama and try to form a caravan. So if you have a bunch of chests on all of these llamas, you can transport a bunch of llamas with a bunch of chest loot all at the same time, which, combined with the shulker boxes, gives you an incredible amount of inventory space all for one expedition, which is really, really cool. And then an extra little feature they added was llamas can spit at wolves, which is cool. I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, those are the currently announced features for Minecraft 1.11 that were announced at Minecon. Hopefully you all enjoyed, and hopefully you all are as excited about 1.11 as I am. And that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. Stick around for bloopers if you want, but this is pretty much the end of the video. See y'all later. Howdy folks, EJ here. Oh, I have a fan on in the background. That's gonna be annoying. BRB. It's gonna be hot without it. The armor stand, which became crazily popular and stuff and things and and they were